Welcome to Between Soul and Sky. This is a soul-centered invitation to a spirit-led, soul-inspired podcast dedicated to guiding you on the evolutionary journey of the soul. Here's your host, Ricky from the Star Whisperer.
Welcome back to another episode of Between Soul and Sky. I am so excited for today's episode because I have an amazing guest with us today. And we have Anya Mukhina, and she is a Vedic astrologer. Welcome on in, Anya. How are you?
Namaste. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm super excited to bring you on board. And I'm going to read your bio in just a minute, but I just want to say to the listeners today that I had done a reading with Anya about a month or two ago now. And I will tell you that as an evolutionary astrologer in Western astrology, it was one of my first opportunities to get a glimpse of the Vedic side of things. And it was mind-blowing. This is a beautiful experience with Anya. So again, as always, thank you so much for that and sharing your wisdom. And that's why we're here today. I feel like you have so much to offer. And so Anya is a devoted practitioner, and she's a passionate teacher of Vedic astrology. Her journey.
Student for life. We're all students for life.
We are all students for life. Yeah, exactly. A passionate student.
Especially in Vedic astrology, it's students for life.
Yes, good answer. Yeah, that's true.
There is a ocean of knowledge, of information, and this lifetime is not enough to learn.
Totally. We're all here, and it's just growing and evolving, and there's not a moment where it's it. Her journey into the ancient Indian wisdom began back in March of 2020, where there was the global pause with COVID. And she was redirected from her path where she was actually working at a med spa in Miami. And that dove her into the deep practice of Vedic astrology. From the moment she discovered Vedic astrology, it's almost as if doors opened effortlessly for her. She began translating books for her Jyotish teacher, which led to her immersive study, her daily spiritual practices, and eventually off to the Himalayas, where she practiced and became certified as a Himalayan Kriya Yoga teacher in 2023. And she has spent many months in India absorbing the richness of the culture and deepening her spiritual path. Today, she offers Vedic astrology readings. She also offers Himalayan Kriya Yoga sessions, which this is for anyone that is on the path towards self-discovery, healing, or soul alignment. And if you want to learn more about her, you can go to her website, which it'll be in the link attached to the episode, which is www.rootchakra.com. So please, anyone that's here, check her out, follow her on social media, and welcome on in. We have a really exciting topic today that I think is game-changing. I think it's life-changing is when you start to learn a little bit about Mahadasha. So the first question I just want to ask you, Anya, is, in 2020, prior to coming into Vedic astrology, how did it come to you? How did Vedic astrology show up in your life for you?
So I've been always, all my life, I was an astrologer, Western. I had a astrologer, which I would order solar from her every year. I remember she's somewhere in Ukraine. I would pay her $250, and I would keep ordering every year solar. And when 2020 happened, I decided, I used to work at med spa, everything was shut down, and I was I was living already in Miami. So I decided, why don't I learn astrology? So I started that day. I decided to looking for courses, and I think it was the same day I discovered that there is a kind of astrology, Western, and there's a Vedic. And I calculated my Vedic chart, and I realized that my sun is not in Aries, and that my rising sign is not Leo, and then my moon is not in Capricorn. And when I opened my Vedic chart, it hit me that this is it. This is exactly who I am. So that moment, it was a moment of realization that all the years it was something was not like the Western astrologer always predicted, so this is going to happen, and nothing always was like aligned.
Yeah, didn't happen.
And I was still ordering the charts because I still have callings for astrology. I was always into astrology. But once I discovered Vedic and I had my chart read by a Vedic astrologer, it was like this. I was like,
It clicked.
okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And I started Instagram, I started looking for Vedic astrologer Instagrams, and I followed Russian lady who has a school in Russia. And literally the next day, she asked if anyone can help her to translate books from Russian to English, and specifically American English. And I can't, so she sent me two books to translate, and I translated books, and she paid me with the courses from her school. And that's how basically, yes, the doors opened, and I got paid with the courses.
Yeah.
And I also translate two amazing books, which you can basically predict when you can get pregnant. There's a formulas when planets aligned in the sky, and Saturn and Jupiter both have to be aligned and
Wow.
specific for the woman to get pregnant. And also there is also calculation how you diseases. Deaths and
Wow.
deaths and diseases in the chart, which is astrologers shouldn't calculate when the person can die, but you can definitely see in the chart what kind of diseases you're prone in this lifetime. So that's another book I calculated, and that's how my Vedic astrology journey has started. And since then, every single day I've been learning something. Every single day. It's been courses, YouTube videos, lectures, books and books and books. So I wouldn't say that I belong to one school, but I took, I guess, a little bit from everything from like the best teachers. Which in Vedic astrology, if anyone wants to learn astrology, you want to follow a teacher. But I'm in my Rahu era, and it's the Rahu when you kind of like on your own, but you would want to follow a school with the teacher.
That's a powerful story. Like you said, it was divine. It was guided for you, where it just worked out effortlessly for you.
For opening. I started to post in on Instagram stories. The people started ordering charts. So, it's just like
it's magic. So today, I one thing that you taught me that I think is so powerful and so important is this term called a Mahadasha. And so today I want to explore a little bit more about what a Mahadasha is. For those that are Western astrologers or Western students or just listening, tuning in, what is a Mahadasha? Like what does this mean for those that are new?
So, okay, the term, it's Vimshottari Dasha. The name of this tool, it's a Vimshottari Dasha, which from Sanskrit, if my mommy brain doesn't, I learned it almost 5 years ago. So Vimshottari, it means 20 years, which is the Mahadashas, the 120 years. But Vimshottari is translated from Sanskrit 20, and Ari, or the end of it, it's years. So basically, it's a tool where we can do predictions. It's a life schedule. It's schedule for your life, which is you are born with, and everyone can access by consultation with astrologer or learning it itself. It's a very good to learn, and it's basically your life schedule for events, for life events. Maha means great from Sanskrit, and Dasha period. So great periods of your life. And we have 9 planets, and all together it's 120 years. And we live in Kali Yuga. Humans don't live as long as 120 years, but we should, because if we eat healthy, if we have a healthy lifestyle, 120 years is possible. So it's a lifetime of 120 years, and a life schedule is all basically written in your chart for those time. Actually, you can also look in your past lives with this tool, and then your next lives.
Wow. So using this system, if someone was interested in their past lives, you could look at what
Yes.
those cycles would have been, you know,
Yes.
100 years ago.
So I wanted to stop here and just agree that we all believe in reincarnation.
I know I should.
should agree. But if someone doesn't believe in this, they probably wouldn't be interested to look,
Yeah.
to watch us. But our soul had many lifetimes, and this lifetime is given to us as we are right now. But the soul has many lifetimes, and karma. The soul has done many actions, which is karma, and those Mahadashas, it's basically life schedule based on your actions from the past life.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Lifetimes. Yes.
So and just to share this, the system, or the Mahadasha system, is very different than transits. Just to connect this, it's very different than transits.
That's not a transit. It's completely the transit. In Vedic astrology, we also use transit as the prediction tools. Mahadasha is the main tool, is like a king of predictions for the dashas, but also there is a Chara Dasha by K.N. Rao, and by the way, the lady school, she's a student of K.N. Rao. It's a very great teacher for Vedic astrology from India. So he created, well, he didn't create it, but he, I guess, make it much better. The prediction tool it's called Chara Dasha by K.N. Rao. So that's another prediction tool. But the most, the king of the tools for Mahadashas, like it's Vimshottari Dasha. That's what we are talking today about. Vimshottari Dasha.
And so for anyone that's new, it's a system where it's designed for, you said, 120 years. And because in Vedic astrology, they look at 9 planets, or 9 planetary bodies, and each planet gets a period of time that adds up to that 120 years, right?
Total 120 years, but each planet, it has different, like the shortest one is the sun, it's 6 years. And actually, let's go through the planets right now.
Yeah, go ahead. So why don't you start off, like, let's just play hypothetical. You figure out, oh, I just started a sun cycle, like, what would that represent? What would that person's life be like?
Of course, we need to look where the sun is located, which house it rules, which house it aspects, and which house it's positioned in. So this is very important. Let's say we take a chart starting from Aries rising sign, Lagna.
Yeah.
And sun is in the 5th house of Leo, which sun rules Leo, and 5th house, it's the house of Leo. If you start in your sun cycle, which is for 6 years, you authority, sun, what sun represents? Authority, health, vitality. You probably want to take your soul purpose. You like, so basically the themes which the sun rules, and which sun is creativity, authority, kings, maybe higher position, work, maybe like sun is also like basically the family, right? It's very family oriented. So all the themes turn on by this Mahadasha. And of course, depends where the sun is positioned, depends on the sun is getting which aspects it gets, and where is it, which house it rules in your own chart. And in Vedic astrology is very important because we start our reading the chart from the rising sign, from ascendant.
Okay.
It's very important. So basically, the natural what planet means, that everything automatically turns on, and plus on top of that, which house it rules, and which house it aspects, and which sign it sits in too.
Wow. So it's really, go ahead. Sorry.
If the sun is strong in your chart, with the sun Mahadasha, you become a king, president.
Right. Would it be the same if someone was a Leo rising, or the Lagna was in Leo, and they were going through their sun Mahadasha period, that would be a very exciting chapter for them.
Very exciting chapter because for Leo rising sun rules your chart.
Yeah.
It's the planet which helped you to be born, which is sun, is going to bring, unless it's severely damaged
Afflicted.
Usually the planet which rules first house in Vedic astrology, first house, that's a triangle house, and also Kendra. It's basically one of the most beneficial houses and it helps you to be born. So usually in the planetary period of that planet, specifically in the sun, person will get higher position, person will be having the best health, person will have family. So it's going to be, I would say, if I would read the chart and it was a Leo rising with the sun in the first house, I would say, your life is going to get much better from
positive. Yeah, so it's pretty positive again, unless there's some affliction that's in the chart, of course, but sun seems positive. Now, what about the moon if you're starting a moon cycle?
So moon, what's the moon? It's all about our emotions, something home related, relationship related, right? Mother. Sun is also our father, so it could be something with the sun Mahadasha, something with the father or father figure in the chart. So moon is all about the mother, about intuition. Maybe your intuition become more heightened. Maybe your emotions become it. Also, again, if the moon is strong in the chart, you will be more intuitive. If the moon is not that strong, you will be more during the and the moon Mahadasha is 10 years, so a little bit longer than the sun.
Okay, so that's a little, you're talking about like psychologically, we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves if we're going through that moon cycle.
Yes, and you will be during sun, you want to shine. You want to shine, your ego is higher, you want to be going on, right? And during moon, you probably want to move, or you want to sit home, you want to cook more, moon get exalted in Taurus in the second house of the food. So it's the switches, like this. So.
And then if you are a Cancer rising, it would be the same thing. It would be the moon Mahadasha is, I don't want to say super favorable, but it is beneficial for the Cancer rising.
So I lived through this. I was born in Venus Mahadasha, and I lived through my sun Mahadasha. I lived through my moon Mahadasha. Venus, by the way, it's the longest Mahadasha, and also I forgot to say, they always go in the same order.
Okay.
You can be born in the middle of Mahadasha, like Venus. I was born in the middle of the Venus. They say that my previous reincarnation body died in Venus, and then like its cycle started all over.
Oh, wow.
So I lived through my Venus, I lived through my sun. In my moon Mahadasha, I literally, when it started, I landed in JFK from Russia.
Oh, wow.
Moon, and again, moon is my ruler. And in my chart is immigration is, you can open the chart, you can see you're going to be living far away from home. So literally at the day when my moon Mahadasha started, I landed in JFK and I've been living here for 20 years.
Wow.
So, so moon 10 years. After moon always goes Mars. Mars is 7 years. And Mars Mahadasha is all about action. My Mars Mahadasha, I was working out. I never worked out in my life. As soon as Mars started, I went to the gym. I was taking boxing classes, cycling classes, gym, like working out. So it's all about sports. Also, again, it depends where is the planet, which house. It's going to activate the house it sits, activate the house it rules, and activate the house it puts aspect, because all the planet have seventh aspect. And in Vedic astrology, Saturn has 3 aspects, Jupiter has 3 aspects, Rahu and Mars. 4 planets has more aspects than 1. So 2 more aspects.
Okay.
So houses get activated too.
Yeah.
So Mars 7 years after Mars, and also we have benefic planet, malefic planet, benefic planet, malefic planet. Natural benefic planets is Venus, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, the greatest benefic. So 4 benefics, and Sun malefic, considered to be malefic because it burns, so shines too much.
Okay.
It burns, like every planet which sits next to the sun, it gets
Yeah, combust. Yeah.
combusted. So Sun is natural malefic, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Saturn. So 5 malefic, 4 benefics. So in Mahadasha sequence, we have 1 malefic, 1 benefic. So Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu. So Mars, Rahu is kind of the same. You don't have a breather. But after Rahu, we have Jupiter. Jupiter is 16 years. I actually wrote it down because my mommy's brain is, Jupiter is 16 years. After Jupiter, we have Saturn, which is 17 years. No, Saturn is 19 years. After Saturn, we have Mercury. Mercury is also a long period, it's 19 years. No, 17 years, sorry.
No, you're good.
After Mercury, we have Ketu, it's also 7 years, just as Mars. And I think, and after Ketu again, Sun.
Okay. What was Venus's
Sorry,
cycle?
after Ketu goes Venus.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Venus's cycle. What was Venus's cycle?
20. So the Venus
Yeah.
is the one 20. So it's benefic planets, which is good. But again, Venus, after Venus always goes, well, basically it starts with Ketu. How it starts? How we forgot the same.
I was going to ask you about starting that, like under like how it begins. Like how does the Mahadasha period start?
Nakshatras. I literally, in Vedic astrology, it's like every time we're unfolding and there is like a huge,
Peeling the onion.
a huge universe of like knowledge is coming. So nakshatras. One of the most important part of Vedic astrology is nakshatras. Nakshatra is translated from Sanskrit as the lunar mansion, constellation. So your Mahadasha starts which nakshatra, your moon was positioned at the time of your birth.
Okay.
You're born in the moon with Ardra.
Yeah.
Ardra rules by Rahu. Correct?
So that's where your Mahadasha would start there.
So you're
Rahu.
born in Rahu.
I was. Yep.
Yes. Which is good. It's better to leave Rahu when you're than you're a teenager. Do you remember which Rahu what you were born?
I was the last 2 years, I think. I think it was like I was born right at I think by the time I was 1 or 2 years old, I was done with it.
Okay, good. You see, that's good because you better like get either Rahu at the end of your life. Well, I'm living Rahu right now. So Rahu 18 years, and everyone is. If you go to astrologer in India and you're about to start your Rahu Mahadasha, they will tell you, go pray. This is it.
Yeah.
Actually, that's happened to me, and actually, I went to we did puja. It's in Vedic astrology, every planet considered to be a god, a deity, and we want to do some little sacrificing, do a little gifts for the planet. Yeah. So every time we start Mahadasha, we want to do a little bit ritual, puja.
Okay.
So anyway, you were born very young in Rahu Mahadasha, so you don't remember, but usually people in Rahu Mahadasha, it's a constantly thinking mind, overthinking, I would say. And Rahu is air, Vata dosha, so it's constantly overthinking, and anything what you plan goes not as you planned. So it's better not to plan anything during Rahu.
Wow. It's like you got to learn to go with the flow.
Yes.
Wow.
You want to go along with the flow, but you want to do the flow in a sattvic way rather than
of course. Yeah.
Rather than tamasic way, because usually if I were, for example, reading a chart and for a child of someone, and the child is about to enter Rahu Mahadasha, and he is or she is 14 years old, most likely they're going to be into the drugs, alcohol, that time especially teenagers influenced, and Rahu is all about all this tamasic drugs, alcohol, I don't know, like the overthinking, and especially teenagers. So I would say the parents make sure, but you can't do anything about it. It's going to happen anyway. It's Rahu.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this. So just for those that are new, if you're curious about understanding where you are in your cycle, you can look at what nakshatra your moon was in when you were born, and figuring out the ruler of that specific nakshatra tells you where you began your journey.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
from there, it creates that 120-year cycle
Mhm.
for your life of what your cycles would look like.
Yes.
Is
And
Go
they,
ahead.
and sorry, and they always in the same order. So if you're
Okay.
born in Rahu, you already lived your Mars. After Mars, you lived your Jupiter, and right now you're finishing your Saturn.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a long time to live. So you did your Rahu, then you did your Jupiter
It's been a
16 years,
journey.
Saturn 19 years. Yes,
It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
but
Um,
you're about to start Mercury. It's exciting.
that's right. Exactly. So
And
out of the Mahadashas, in your opinion, is there one, would it be Rahu is the one that you would want to take? I think you take it all very seriously, but is there one that's a little bit more, you should be aware of this cycle and what's the
so
word I don't want to look at it from a fear perspective, but more from a perspective of like, wow, the energy is going in this momentum right now to really live in harmony and live in synchronous, like live in that space. Is there one specific time or planetary time that is considered more difficult?
again, the malefic planets are Ketu. Ketu is the planet of detachment. Ketu is short, so it's 7 years, just as Mars. And during Ketu planetary period, again, it depends where it sits in your chart, but most likely people will be more detached from material world and will be more thinking, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing here? What's my life purpose?
Okay.
I'm more spiritually inclined. But because we live in material world, and it's very difficult to decline all the luxuries.
Yeah.
Ketu, for someone who starts Ketu planetary period, they most likely they will experience material losses, losing wallet, losing suitcase, losing house, like something will Ketu will make them to lose some material item. So people will be more tend to live ascetic life.
Right. Okay. To prefer to kind of pull back, be reserved, be alone.
Yes.
Um,
Don't buy any luxury
got
items. You want to be alone, you want to meditate. Absolutely every planetary period, if you start, it's a new chapter. So when you start planetary period, it's a new chapter in your life. Big changes are coming. It doesn't matter if it's short period, a long period, a big changes. It's basically a life-changing a season. After winter comes spring, good like benefic planet. After spring goes fall time, malefic planet, so on. So when planetary period changes, the huge changes in lifetime coming. Person move, person gets married, new job, new career, finishing school, starting college, and it happens like this. And knowing that your planetary period changes, we shouldn't be afraid of changes. Just go with the flow. But knowing which planet is coming, we can be ready for this planetary period. Again, Ketu, don't buy any luxury. Just prepare little altar at home and try to meditate. Be alone.
Create more space in your life, it sounds like.
Yeah, also the Mahadashas, they always start, for example, Ketu, because they divide it. It's not like the whole 10 years you're going to have moon. It's divided by sub-periods, which call Antradashas.
Okay.
So, but the strongest changes in your life happens first couple years when it's moon, or Ketu, or Rahu, Saturn. So basically that's usually turbulence and roller coaster of changes in person's life. And after that, it goes the next, again, sequence. Moon, after moon goes moon Mars, moon Rahu, moon Jupiter, moon Sat, Saturn, and so on.
Yeah.
So I would say the first 2 years, 2-3 years, depends on the planet. Of the
Yeah.
planet, the most
Yeah. You
yeah.
know, I just realized something. For those of you that are Western astrologers or students, I just realized something to clarify. When we talk about Rahu and Ketu, we're talking about the north and the south node. Rahu and Ketu is just the translation, I guess, into Vedic
Yes.
astrology. The other thing I just want to say that I love that you just brought up was this sub period. So the Mahadasha is the whole period, and then in that whole period, there's little sub timelines within it, and so those little sub timelines are called those antadarshas, and so it's like a sub period. So like if you look at or I forgot, let's say the sun was 6 years. Within that 6 year period, the sun was ruling this chapter of your life, but all of the other planets will have their own time to share with the sun, is what you're saying.
So basically, how I was taught, Mahadasha is the country, and Antradasha is the states.
Love it.
So let's say your Jupiter Mahadasha, you live in the United States, right? And like
Yeah.
you can travel in United States. There's so much to buy in United States, you know?
Yeah.
Then after Jupiter goes Saturn. So after living in the United States, when you can travel from California to Florida, you can go to ski, you can do gay marriage, you can do transgender operation, you can
Yeah.
do what you want. Like Jupiter is like Jupiter
Everything.
is the greatest benefic. It's fulfill your desires.
Okay.
And then after Jupiter goes Saturn. And then boom, you move to a Muslim country when you have to wear a burqa. For example, there is no gay marriages, there is no transgender operations, you know. So it's like basically Mahadasha, it's the country, and
Yeah.
Antardasha is the states.
The
So
individual. Yeah.
basically, again, I don't know, like the first thing it's come to me like transgender operations. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like it was on the news the other day.
Yeah.
Let's say you live in Jupiter, right? United States as Jupiter allows transgender operations,
Right.
right? You live Jupiter in California, and then Jupiter Saturn starts, and you move to Florida. Florida, you can do that, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
just
that's a good perspective to look at it. And as
example, but it's example.
no, but as I'm thinking about it too, I actually feel like it also makes practical sense from the perspective that like it makes me feel like when you're entering a planetary period of Jupiter, I always look at planets as there is an intention for the soul to evolve during these periods. Like there's an intention for the soul to evolve with Jupiter. So in between those periods, it's like you're going to do the Saturn, you're going to do the Sun, and all of these are the collective lesson under Jupiter, right? And it's like different ways of handling the Jupiter energy. And so it makes sense. It's kind of like you're working with different ways, but you're really dealing with the larger Jupiterian themes. Because I was thinking about that because one of the things that I think some people may have questions on is, I think this is an age-old question, by the way, so it's beyond you and I. But how does free will come into the play? Because sometimes, when we're looking at certain cycles, sometimes people feel like I have no control. Is this fated? Or do I have a choice? Do I have free will among the changes that are happening?
The way I look at it, the free will, let's say if you're born with the chart to kill someone, like for example, if you're born with the chart of a murderer, you will have that desire, you have a free will to do it. But if you're born with the chart which is not gonna do it, you're not gonna have a free will to do it too. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think our free will is already written in that in the star.
Stars. Yeah.
In which what we think is free will, it's actually
Yeah.
actually
No,
it's
I love asking because I feel like it's a question I think we're all asking ourselves, right? I think it's a question of where does free will come from? Do we have a choice? When you're in a Saturn cycle or a Rahu cycle, do you feel like I have free will? you know, if you're in a K2 cycle and you know that things are going to be, or you notice that things are being taken away, or if you're noticing that you're losing things, you know, what's my free will? It's like, it's your free will. Like I can keep buying things, I could keep going against it, but it's like,
But you just when you start your Ketu planetary period, you won't have a desire to buy things.
so got it. So what you're getting into is, okay, this is an interesting topic, the idea of desire.
When the planetary period changes, it's not even changes the people, like it changes character of a person.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
It's basically you have a quality of your character which was sleeping inside, and when Mars comes, boom, go to the gym. And during moon planetary period, which is before Mars, you didn't even have a thought to go to the gym.
Totally.
And boom, something wakes up inside you, and you go into the gym.
That's so interesting because, and you know this, I just changed from, I think it was Saturn Rahu to Saturn Jupiter.
You just survived the war. It's actually too malefic. It's one of them. And when we were talking to you, I asked you how you're doing. You're going through one of the most difficult period of your lifetimes. I asked you how you're doing. And now you're in Rahu Jupiter and Saturn Jupiter, and which is Saturn as the country itself. It still wants you to have a discipline, hard work. You want to wait for the results because Saturn, it's like a very long goals. But during Jupiter, you want Jupiter's wisdom, optimism, learning, teaching. So, but at the same, you're learning and teaching with the discipline.
Exactly.
And before that, Rahu, unpredictable, something unpredictable, and
and I think, and those are all lessons though too. You know what? This is what I always say is that even in the difficulty of it all, and this is for anyone listening, if you're looking at your Vedic chart because you feel inspired, and you see like, oh snap, I'm going through like a Saturn Rahu, I'm going through a Rahu Saturn, whatever it may be. I don't want you to be discouraged and feel like, oh snap. Go ahead.
But maybe someone who's going through Saturn, they Libra or Taurus rising. And for Libra and Taurus rising, the Saturn is a Yoga Karaka planet, which rules Kendra, one of the, and Trikona, it's two the best houses. So for Libra rising and for Taurus rising, Saturn is going to be one of the best planetary periods. Opposed of, for example, Cancer or Leo rising, because Saturn rules one of the bad houses. So again, without knowing a chart and interpretation of a chart, no one should jump into conclusions.
Exactly. And if you have questions, ask. And again, you can always go to Anya's website and schedule a session. I promise you it'll be incredibly rewarding. I think one of the questions I was thinking about asking, and this actually comes from someone that I know, and I was telling them that they should learn about their Mahadasha periods and what it means. Their first question was, and I'm sure you've had this before, Anya, will my Dasha period tell me when I'm going to meet someone? Like, will I meet someone during a certain cycle? Can you use these cycles to showcase when it might be a good time for relationships, or maybe when it's not a good time for relationships?
So most likely when people, every time Mahadasha changes, especially a big Mahadasha, like all life changes, and if person is not married, most likely it's going to be time for new relationships. So I would say Venus is the planet of relationships. So Mahadasha of Venus, definitely marriage when it starts, right? Venus Antardasha we have in every Mahadasha. So Mars Venus, Saturn Venus, Rahu Venus, 100%. If a person in a marriage during Rahu Venus or Venus Rahu, they would want to
get into a relationship.
Yeah, it depends on the chart, but most likely it's going to be
something.
Even if they married. Because Rahu, they put illusion, oh, like this wife is not good, let me go find another one.
Oh, wow.
Even that during Rahu, it's very important to know that the grass is not greener. The Rahu will
Wow.
want you to think the grass is greener, but you want to make sure that
So
that
interesting.
to water your own grass, unless there is
Something wrong in the
well,
relationship.
like usually people who have Rahu in the seventh house, they say there is a 90% marriage divorce in the first marriage,
Oh, wow.
40% divorce in the second marriage. But then people with the position of Rahu in seventh house, they need to work on their marriage because
That makes sense.
you're going to be stepping in the same problems. So it's
Yeah.
better to take the first marriage. But most likely Rahu in the seventh house, especially Rahu Mahadasha or Antardasha, the people going to be
Yeah. And
unaffair.
that again, for just as a reminder, that's the North Node energy in the seventh house is what you're talking about, which makes a lot of sense too. So like I feel like it's important. I think this is something where it can help explain what's going on. I have found just in my very, very small learning so far that the Mahadasha system is a beautiful tool that can give an explanation to something that is larger. Like I find looking backwards at my life, I could look at the cycles when I was younger and be like, oh, this was an important date in my life. I remember when this happened in my life. You can look at these cycles and say like, oh, well, this is what was going on. And it's just, I feel like it's such a good tool for self-understanding. And I don't know, seeing this, I feel like it could be game changing for someone. If they're feeling in a moment where they're feeling lost right now, if you're feeling stuck right now, if you're contemplating a relationship or a marriage or a divorce, or when that understanding your Mahadasha could be very validating for you. It could be a very validating feeling. And I'm sure when you saw that the moon, you started your moon cycle, when you came here, you were probably like, wow, that's wild how that happened.
Back then, I didn't know astrology.
Exactly. And so when you look at it now, you're like, I can't believe this happened this way. But it is the beauty of it all. There's this science to it in some extent. There is this very beautiful part to it. Sorry, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Science, of course, it's I mean, and thank God we live in the 21st century. Computer calculate everything for
Oh,
us. Otherwise, we would,
yeah,
especially with our Mercury in Pisces, we would be
to remember it.
very long way to
Yeah,
calculate all this. It's a very easy tool because yes, when new Mahadasha starts, persons always want to change their life. And sometimes when changes are coming, we're afraid to step in it,
yeah,
to open that door, and the door just needs to be open, or we need to be like a little push. So when you know that the planetary period is changing and the changes are coming, and when the changes are actually happening, we shouldn't be afraid.
yeah.
Also, one important thing, it's all karma. So Mahadasha turn on or turn off the karma stored in your chart, which you're born with. And if you, karma is actions, right? Past life actions. If you did something good in your past life, that Mahadasha will turn on the good karma.
Yeah.
And when you did something not so good, the Mahadasha will turn on the bad karma from past actions. And that's very important to also know because, sometimes a good person leaves and there's something bad happens to them. They will think like, oh my God, this old nice lady hasn't done anything bad to anyone, and there's boom, something happened to her. Like, and that's karma from past life, which got activated because your planetary period switched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you say as well that there could be just as in the good karma context, gifts that are latent within the soul are activated during these switches. Like, you could be living your life a specific way and doing something, and all of a sudden there's like a latent gift inside of the soul that the soul worked on in a past life or something like this, and it could be activated. Is that something that could happen as well during these cycles?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I think it's super exciting.
When Rahu comes in play, because
Yeah.
Rahu is our desires from the past lifetimes. That's
Yeah.
what we came here to do. And again, Rahu Antardasha is in each Mahadasha. So everyone, maybe not everyone living through the big planetary, big Mahadasha of Rahu, but absolutely everyone is going to live or lived already many times through Rahu Antardasha.
Dasha. Right. So it'll come up somehow, some way. It'll come up for everyone.
Yes. Karma or Saturn. Saturn is the big planet of karma. On top of that, a lot of people have retrograde planets. The retrograde planet is another karma. So in the chart, there is no good or bad charts. Each chart has 9 planets. All those 9 planets rule in bad house and in the good houses. They all aspect getting big bad malefic planets aspect, benefic planets aspect. So there's not specifically, oh, this chart is great or this chart is bad. There's something, life, life happens, and our life is very colorful. There's good, there's bad days, and we have to remember it shall pass.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I think that's really important, both in Western and Vedic astrology. Because I find many people will come in and be like, my chart is awful. I've been told all these different things. And I, like you said, I love how you said that, because prior to jumping on the call, you and I were talking about, and maybe we'll talk about this in the future, that you could be born with what someone may look at and be like, wow, this chart is severely afflicted, but you could have the best yogas in your chart. And you might not even have any issues with those afflictions. Things are just flowing. So there's so many different things to take into context before you assume that, like, you're doomed and you're going to be alone forever, or you're never going to be successful. Like, don't have those perceptions yet. And so one of the questions that I was going to bring up, not even a question, but more of a statement, is the other big thing in Vedic astrology, you started to get into the idea of rituals and remedies that you can do. Do you find that there's a source that you personally like or go to recommend to people to learn about their Mahadasha, or, aside from scheduling a reading with you, if they want to study Mahadasha or rituals and remedies, do you have a place that you like to use? A book or something?
I don't think so, but look, every planet rules each day of the week. Sun is Sunday, Moon is Monday, Mars is Tuesday. It's similar to actually Spanish. Mercury is Wednesdays. I think it's in Spanish, Mercules or something like that. Jupiter is Thursday, Friday, Venus, Rahu, Saturn day. Well, Tuesday, Mars and Ketu Tuesday. So each day of the week, you can do a little like ritual for the planet, or like even wear the color of the clothes. And sun is yellow, gold actually, maybe even like, well, the sun.
Yeah.
Moon is white, pearl, white. You can wear pearls. Tuesday is Mars is coral colors. Like it's also like every day of the week, like depends on the planet. Sun, you want to do Surya Namaskar. Wake up with this on Sunday. Wake up early with the sunrise. You want to do maybe like sit under the sun. Moon is the more like a water day. Maybe you want to take a bath or shower or talk to your mom on Mondays. Tuesday is perfect time to go work out. Mars loves coral colors. Wednesday is great to learn something. It's Mercury, so green colors. Thursdays is great to do any spiritual practices. Jupiter, any monetary transactions, conceiving a child. To be born on Thursday is actually amazing.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I feel like you said earlier, there's so much to learn. There's so much to get into.
Friday Venus is great to like a date night or get some ice cream going, like wear some pastel colors. Saturday is Saturn with Rahu, so it's best day to do some sort of askeza or sort of maybe donations.
Okay.
For old people or any donations. And again, Sunday, so basically every day of the week, you can do some sort of rituals to make the planet to better in your chart.
To channel that energy. Um, I just want to say I have two last questions for you, but I really appreciate everything you're sharing. I think there's so much here to unpack, and I just want to stress this again that if you want to learn a little bit more about this in your chart, you could go to Anya's website, which is ruchaka.com, www.ruchaka.com. You could schedule a one-on-one chart reading there. These two questions are not about Mahadashas. These are my own personal questions that are my curiosities about the soul journey. For you, with just the people that are here and the people that listen to this in the future, do you have a message or word of wisdom based upon your life experience, just everything that you've experienced from Russia to India to being here and everything that you've gone through? Just a word of wisdom or message or advice that you could share with all of us about the soul journey and just wisdom or advice you could share with us, no matter what. It could be anything. There's no right or wrong answer.
So my message for everyone is your action is the karma. Every your thought, your word, your action you're doing right now, you're building your karma for this lifetime or for the next lifetime.
I
So
love that.
everyone should be very careful what they do, what they even think. And we have to know
Yeah,
that every time, every minute, we like just burning karma or building karma.
yeah,
Building and karma is good or bad. It's action. So
yeah,
we have to be always careful with our actions.
yeah. Now, okay, that's kind of just something that I would look at that as like karma yoga. Um, and that's a way of turning your life. And this is a concept, by the way. Karma yoga is really about creating
Mhm.
good karma for yourself. Um, but you gotta be aware of where you're at. Like you have to be able to be here today. What's today's date? The 9th of June, to be able to become more self-aware of what you're creating in every moment and every thought.
And on top of that, it's very important to do it sincere because
Yeah, oh,
sometimes
100%. You can't
you
manipulate
do it,
it.
like, okay, I'll do it. That's good for my karma. It's like you're gonna do something which is gonna be, get worse for your
Yeah.
karma.
People think
So
they can manipulate the system.
you
Doesn't
have
work that way.
you
Yeah.
have to be with your
And that comes down to desires again. Like, are your desires authentic? Like, are you authentically and genuinely invested and interested in creating good karma for yourself? Or for the soul? And I feel like there's something about desire that you brought up that I think is a whole separate conversation because I love the concept of desire. Um, my last question that I have for you, and I know you and I were going back and forth on this one. Um, life experience or life in general is such a complex subject, I think, for so many people. And like you were saying earlier, we come back and learn and learn and learn because we're students. We're students of this life experience. So in this journey we call life, between the soul and the sky, which is what this podcast is about. What do you think we're really here to remember?
we're here to remember that the light we seek, it's always in with us, inside of us.
I love that. I love that. I appreciate you, Anya. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me here. It was fun.
Yes. I
Let's
I appreciate it. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to love what you have to say, that are going to have a lot of questions for you.
the
Um,
Vedic astrology is the tool which can navigate through your life.
yeah,
It's and we always come not on some point in life we each of us will come to a point that there's a crossroads,
yeah,
and it's a tool which helps to navigate.
totally. And I'm just going to say this one more time. If you want to book a session or learn a little bit more about Anya, you could go to ruchaka.com. I will also share your social media in the description as well, because she does post some content on her stories and on Instagram. She does shares what's going on. And I think you'll find a lot of value in it. So, Anya, thank you so much. If you all have any questions for her, send them her way. She'll be more than happy to do some Vedic readings. So, thank you, Anya, for being here. And thank you for teaching us just a little bit about like a glimpse, because again, there's so much more that I think we can get into with this system. So thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.